Greetings, learners. Time to master English one word at a time. From grammar and writing to speaking with confidence. I make English simple, fun, and easy to learn for everyone. Hit the subscribe button and let's grow together in the world of words. Bye. Good day, learners. Welcome to the second episode of my lesson. In our previous episode, which was our first introductory class to noun phrase, we explored the definition of the noun phrase, and we said that a noun phrase is a group of words that function as a noun in a sentence. A noun phrase is a group of words that function as a noun in a sentence. In our previous episode, we explored one of the functions of a noun phrase, and we explored the function of noun phrase as subject of the verb. Please go back to the previous episode to follow up on this episode. So today we are going to focus on the second function of the noun phrase, which is noun phrase as subject complement. What is subject complement? This is when the subject is the same thing as the complement and the complement is the same thing as the subject. Subject complement is when the complement is the same thing as the subject and the subject is the same thing as the complement. On the board, it simply reflects something about the subject by telling us what it is or what it has become. It simply reflects something about the subject by telling us what it is or what it has become. Let's illustrate the definition of subject complement in the following examples. Let's look at the example on the board. The first example says, my brother is a teacher. Remember that in our last episode, we saw how a noun metamorphosed into a noun phrase. In this underlined expression, we can see that teacher is what? A noun. And a teacher is a noun phrase. Now, let's look at how we can analyze this. How do you give your grammatical name and how do you give your grammatical function? With the introduction of this article, A, your grammatical name is what? Noun phrase. That is your grammatical name. And your grammatical function is what? A teacher is the noun phrase telling us who the brother is. That is subject complement. So subject complement is the grammatical function. Remember that today our focus is on subject complement. Also remember that in definition of subject complement, this is when the subject, my brother, is the same thing as a teacher, the complement. This is when the subject is the same thing as the complement, and the complement here is the same thing as the subject is the same thing as the complement, and the complement is what? The same thing as the subject. That is what the definition is saying. And I will re-emphasize on our grammatical function. It is what? Subject complement. A teacher is the noun phrase telling us who the brother is. You can say that a teacher complements the subject, my brother. Let's put it on the board. A teacher complements the subject, my brother. Please always remember to put a teacher, put those expressions in quotation mark. Always remember to put the expressions in quotation mark. So a teacher complements the subject, my brother. You can express your function like this or this way. Anyone goes. Now let's look at the second example. The second example says, my new students are future leaders. My new students are future leaders. Our complement here is future leaders. Our complement here is what? Future leaders. Therefore, according to the definition of subject complement, that the subject is the same thing as the complement, and the subject is the same thing as the complement, and the complement is the same thing as the subject. Therefore, what is our grammatical name? Our grammatical name is noun phrase, and our grammatical function is subject complement, future leaders complement the subject, my new students. It's as easy as that. Students often ask, how do I know my subject complement? Remember a little recap. Remember the recap that subject of the verb is when the noun phrase takes the first position of the sentence. Now in subject complement take the last position of the expression. Subject complement take the last position of the expression. Remember your rule. Rule number 1, pay attention to the line. When you see the direction of the line, you will know the grammatical function. In our next episode, we will explore the third function of the noun phrase, which is object of the verb. Thank you for attending today's class. See you in the next class. Bye, learners.